I am getting ready to start planting strawberries. This is basically our entire setup for berries as far as the bare roots. You've got your pusher, which this is what you're going to use to push that strawberry plant into the ground. It needs to be long like that so you can keep the roots nice and straight. The oxidate, which this is actually jet ag, basically the same thing, to sanitize the roots and just the entire plant. And then this is a wheel for like measuring distance. We took the counter off of it, and then we put these little nails in there, if you can see them there. And that is what gives us our spacing and punches a little hole in the plastic, and you'll see this later on. That way we know exactly where the plants need to go. And then obviously you have your plants, but they're in the cooler, and I'm not gonna get them out because there's no reason to, we're not ready. But before all that, we're gonna try something different this year, and that is going back over the plants with a fertilizer mixture. Now, it is recommended when you're planting strawberries that the soil is very, very wet. Like, they want us to saturate our plastic mulch bed so much to where the water actually seeps out from underneath, but we don't really have the time to set up our drip irrigation at the moment. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plant them, and then we're gonna go back over by hand or with our new way and water them over top. That's what we did our first year with the strawberries, and it worked out really well. But this is our idea this year. Using our water wheel planter, taking the wheel off, and then attaching 2 hoses to it so that way we can water the plants. You know, we're still gonna drive over the plastic just like we would if we were planting, but yet we're not actually punching holes with this. We're just watering the plants instead of walking through by hand with like a water tank and a hose on behind. It'll just save a lot of walking. It should save time, should be easier, but we gotta figure out how we wanna set it up. We've been trying different things every single year. Last year, or 2 years ago, when we planted our last batch of strawberries, they did the best. Had a great following year when the berries actually produced, and then the year after that is this year when all the plants died because of some unknown disease. And hopefully this year, or actually next year, goes good, because if it doesn't, there could possibly be no more strawberries grown on the Broyans farm. We've been doing this now for, I don't even know how many years, quite a few, and it just seems like something always goes wrong. And we invest, and it's starting to get way too expensive to invest that much money and then have it fail. They say soil has a lot to do with strawberries. Maybe ours is too rocky. Obviously, you guys know how rocky it really is. But we don't really have an issue growing anything else, so I just don't know why strawberries don't turn out. But like I said, it's just too much to lose year after year after year. So plans have changed yet again. I put the wheel back on the planter. I forgot Dad and I laid these 3 rows of plastic when we were laying for our strawberries. And we decided this year, instead of growing the plants in the greenhouse and then planting the actual plant, we're gonna let the water wheel poke a hole in the plastic, and then Mom's just gonna take our seeds, which is cucumbers, pickles, and zucchini, drop 3 of them in each cell, and then just cover them over a little bit and let Mother Nature let them grow. And so we're gonna plant zucchini, yellow zucchini, and Gouda here, cucumbers here, and then pickles in that row. So here we go. It's muddier than I thought. I wasn't really thinking also about that either. I wasn't thinking about a lot of things apparently. Going as slow as I can for Mom. I think she'll be just fine. I'm going as slow as I can. So the zucchini, cucumbers are done. Now we're gonna work on the pickles, or the pickling cucumbers. You can see it's pretty dry underneath there, which isn't the worst because the dirt's a little fluffier than for Mom to cover the seeds. But out here it's muddy, like it's caking to the tires, borderline too muddy. But we gotta get this job done. That way these can start growing. We don't have a drive road here because we didn't really expect to put this stuff here, but by the time these are ready, we should have the collard greens picked and the kohlrabi, so then we should have a decent drive road to at least pick up our baskets. I can't believe how much the cole crops here have grown. This is the mid-season patch. We're pretty sure we're gonna put in the late season tomorrow. The broccoli's looking awesome. I mean, everything's looking good, but the broccoli looks about the biggest compared to everything else. I cultivated them once. I probably won't cultivate them again. You can see how grown in they are. I'll probably do more damage than I do good if I would do it again. It's just so rocky. This field is horrible, which honestly, I can't say the strawberry field right next door here is much better, but this is the ground we allotted for strawberries. Makes it really convenient. We couldn't put them here because this is our old strawberry field. Obviously we have strawberries over there and we don't really want to go down that way any further. So this is just perfect. Right there will be our parking lot for the cars. The beds are pretty good, but it's hard to make a perfect bed when you have so many rocks. So it's not like exactly formed the way we'd like it to, but it's as good as we could do. Mom went and picked up all of the pickles and cukes. They look really nice. That's all the cukes, and now we're in the process, or actually she already started the pickles. Again, they're really nice. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be planting strawberries today. We're just not quite ready. Right now I'm filling the water tank. We just wanna have all our ducks in a row. We don't wanna plant the strawberries today and then not be able to get water onto them because then they could possibly die within the next day. So we're gonna wait until we are completely ready with water, completely ready with all of our parts. That way when we head to the field, we can plant and then immediately water afterwards. Mom got a bunch of tomatoes picked out of the high tunnel today. There's one box, there's another box, and there's 2 or 3 more underneath them. Because we're getting so busy, we try and pick them a little bit greener. Like when I'm saying greener, I mean just not quite blood red. That way they can sit in the shed and ripen for a day or two if we need to, because we just can't pick everything the day before or the same day that we go to market. So I got the water wheel planter over here, got the water wheel off of it. And so what I was saying earlier is we're gonna water them with this, but I gotta hook up another line right here. This thing can unscrew and then I can put in another one of those, but it's got to have a fitting in there that reduces it down to like 3/4 inch. Then I can run a garden hose off of that and we can then have one guy on each side watering, because it's going to be 2 rows of strawberries in each row of plastic. Yuck. Just
gummy water in there. So this plug is inch, I thought I just seen an 1.25 inches. So I need 1.25 inches down to 3/4. I don't think we're gonna put another one of these valves on. I think we're just gonna have a hose and then we'll have a valve on the end just like you would any kind of regular garden hose. I just got here to the barn. Now that everything is harvested and in here, I'll show you what everything looks like now that's for the most part together. So we've already cleaned and sold probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 bulbs at least. So these shelves were full, or a lot of these shelves here are full. Now they're starting to empty off. This is some of the first garlic we pulled, so the stems are almost completely dried and this garlic is ready to store for months and months. Over here it looks like it's a little bit nicer as far as size goes. That dirty shell just peels right off of there. And then over here is where most of it is. And we have 1 or 2 fans over here drying stuff out. All this. And then all this over here. And this is just about the same every single year. We grow the same amount. The bulbs vary in size, but all in all, cannot complain. It's beautiful. Sure got it out in a hurry once we started. Once all these dry and get really crispy, because like the tips are getting crispy, but yet the stem is still kind of wet, has moisture in it. Once they're completely dried out, that's when we'll really come in on rainy days when we have more time and we'll clip them all about like that, just like you see them in the grocery store. That way we can clean up all this mess and can really shrink down the space that we're taking up. And I mean, these bulbs are like 3, 4, 5 layers deep here. Ideally, we don't like to have them that thick, but we didn't really have any more room. Mom's out here cleaning some now. That looks really nice. Did you grab the bigger ones or just grab a stack of them?
I'm just cleaning the shelves in there. But that was from like those first 2 rows. I'm grabbing them on the trays on the left.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna get going then and get those parts. I think I got everything I need.
So where do you gotta go for them?
Lowe's. So Sammy and I went out last night and picked up the parts that I thought I needed. So this is what it looks like. I got an 1.25 inches down to 3/4, and then a 3/4 just regular fitting, and then this 90 threads into that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue a pipe into there with a barbed end on it, which is this guy right here. Problem is I do not have the pipe. I know I have it around the farm here somewhere. I just bought it not too long ago. It's just 3/4 inch schedule 40 and it just vanished. So I'm gonna have to go buy new. One other thing I also forgot was the hose that we're gonna be using to, water with. So I'm back from town, we're all in and glued. Got my hose on there, I just gotta put a hose clamp on. And then back here, I have extra hose, which is what I planned on. I'm gonna cut this off now. I'm gonna leave it a little long. I'm not sure if we're gonna wanna hold it with our hand to water the row or if we're gonna wanna kind of like mount it on here. But either way, we can do whatever we want. All right, so then I got this guy. Oops. So finally, after about 2 hours, I am finished. Pretty excited, hopefully it works the way I'm hoping it's going to. What took so long wasn't the fact that it was hard or anything like that. It was just finding the right parts that we know we had here around the farm. Getting this to all fit up correctly with the right threads, because you have like hose threads and you have pipe threads, and obviously you can't, interchange them. I just got off the phone with Norse Farms, confirming our order for the plugs. Everything's got to work out just perfectly because you're dealing with live plants. And if they're not handled properly, if they're not stored properly, they could die before they even get here. So they want to make sure everything's a go, everything's set up perfect. And so August 4th, they should be shipped out. And then by the 6th, hopefully, they should be ready to plant into the field here on the farm. And we're only gonna be planting 2 rows of bare root. The rest of the field is gonna be with that water wheel planter. And so what I'm gonna do is come off the edge, I don't know exactly, but something like that, around like 8 inches, 6 inches, something like that. And I'm gonna try and do as even of a job as possible, and I'm gonna go out the entire row, just like that. Now these rows are like 1,400 feet or something, so it's not gonna be quick and easy. Well, it's not gonna be hard, but it's not gonna be quick. And so you can see right here, that's the little dimple that those nails are putting in. Right there's a rock, so it didn't make a good one at all. But anyway, that way now when we come through, we know exactly where we're gonna plant our strawberry plants into the ground. I'd probably rather be a little bit too far in than out. That way I don't have the strawberry plants growing off the edge and then growing up with the weeds. So the holes are made. I just got my water oxidate mixture ready to go. And I got my strawberry plants. They're actually starting to sprout a little bit, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. So we'll take these over here and I'll show you what we're gonna do with them guys. So these roots are just way too long, and when you go to put that down into the ground, it's gonna break off, or you're gonna bottom out your pusher. So we'll take and trim them off, something close to that right there, and then right into, I should mix it around a little better, the oxidate mixture it goes. And so now they'll sit in there for like 10 minutes, something like that. Maybe 15, I don't know. I think Mom's coming up with the guys right now. They're gonna help. That looks pretty good. You don't want them too short because it could actually kill the plant, but you don't want these long things. As the day goes on, more and more family and just friends are gonna be showing up. So hopefully by the end of it, we're gonna have a lot of people and we can maybe even get both these rows done all tonight.